Hello and welcome. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, you're going to hear from incubated authors who published their books less than a year ago. These books have all been picked up for distribution in traditional channels like Target, Barnes & Noble, and other bookstores around North America. And today, those books are available for pre-order. We're celebrating the pre-launch of their books, which will appear in bookstores starting October 8th and rolling out through March 3rd. Today, we're actually going to discuss what happens after you publish your book. You'll learn what these authors have done in order to keep momentum going and continue making a difference a year after launching. Let me introduce myself. I am Trevor McCrae, Publishing Director here at the Author Incubator. I have been with these authors every step of the way on their publishing journey, from finishing their ebooks to preparing for the print book to hit bookstores, and now with the audiobooks that you're going to hear samples of today. I am so excited to share these books with you. As a way to say thank you for joining us today, we have prepared their audiobooks for early distribution. So if you pre-order a paperback during today's broadcast, you'll have the chance to get the audiobook for free, only for the first 20 orders. So go ahead and order them now. Here's how you do it. You'll see the links to purchase the books below. Once you buy the book, make sure that you also click the button to request your free copy of the audiobook. Complete the form with your order number and we will send it to you. Of course, as soon as the print book is ready, by way of having pre-ordered it, they will send it your way. So first, one of our authors, Heather Glidden, is here. Her book is entitled Thrive in Your Healing Business, Do the Work You Love Without Sacrificing Yourself. Heather and I were able to chat about this book in person recently, and I'm so excited to hear about the difference that this book is making in the world. Hi, Heather. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Trevor. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So I have a copy of this very beautiful book. I wanted to ask you we've been in contact since you were last here in Washington, but tell me what's been going on in your business as you've basically been healing healers.
Yeah, it's been great. I can tell you one specific story that I think really exemplifies what's been kind of what I've gotten to witness since I published the book. So there was one particular person who came to me just at the beginning of the summer. I want to say it was like early June. And she came to me and she said, I'm really empathic. I take on a lot of energy from my clients. I give a lot to them. I feel like I'm draining my energy. I also feel like I'm taking on a lot from them. And I love my work. This is like my dream job, but I don't know how long I can keep doing it. I'm afraid I'm going to have to stop because I'm getting so depleted. So we got to work together over the summer, and she's like a new person now. It's so great. Like, she knows how to work with her clients without losing energy. She's feeling way better. She gets up in the morning and she looks forward to her day. She's not kind of figuring out how am I just going to get through it. And she's actually getting ready to start her own business. And she's like excited and energized for it. So it's amazing to me to see this kind of turnaround. And I feel like that's really what has changed since I published my book, is I've gotten to have contact with so many more people and have these conversations that I just never would have had otherwise.
That is an amazing story. So tell me, based on the book itself, how long is that process supposed to take versus how long it took with this particular client?
Well, so I think that process can take a really long time if you're going it alone. And I actually think this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they start going into burnout, is that they just think it's going to get better at some point, or they just think they have to put their head down and like tough it out. And the problem with that is that they end up just getting more and more depleted and more burned out. And so it takes longer and it's much harder to get out of that situation. What I think was so great with this person was she recognized where she was and that she needed help. So working with her, it took just a couple months for us to really get her onto a good path. And now she's on this upward trajectory where she can just keep soaring more and more. So it's great.
That's amazing. So tell me, I mentioned your kind of healing healers in this
Mhm.
situation. Tell me how you got to this place and how you figured your way out of burnout.
Yeah, so I have been a movement teacher and a body worker, and I've owned a studio for 15 years. So I really have been kind of in this industry from multiple different sides, both from a practitioner side and a business owner side. So I've had many different flavors of burnout. I've had the burnout that comes from energy depletion. I've had the burnout that comes from like the overgiving, the sacrificing, and also from trying to work with clients who weren't a match for me, or trying to do work that it was really time for me to grow out of and evolve the work that I was doing. So what I realized was that there's not anybody that I saw who was out there really talking about this issue and like how to actually do our work and all the different aspects of doing our work sustainably as healers. Then for me, that's like there's just kind of the three parts of that. There's the how are you attracting and working with clients that you love working with? There's how are you managing your energy doing that? And if you need to, how are you evolving your work so that it stays vital and interesting and it doesn't get boring to you after a while?
So I'm hoping that we are at the vital and interesting part of your career.
Absolutely.
So let us go ahead and play a sample of the audiobook, and then I'm going to come back and I have one more question for you.
Perfect.
As a movement teacher, I often worked with people in their 50s, 60s, or 70s who had pain or other chronic injuries. What I frequently noticed was that the ailments these people experienced had roots in some event or habit from their early adulthood. I could clearly see that if they had addressed this issue in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, it would have been much easier, faster, and less costly to correct. I rapidly extrapolated this insight out to my whole life and decided I would not become a burned out healer. I would learn the secrets to healer self-care early so I could avoid that particular pitfall entirely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, this is clearly the book for you. If you if you pre-order it on Barnes & Noble and click the link below, we will send you the free audiobook. Heather, I think it's time to break some news. I hear you are working on a second book.
I am working on a second book. Yes.
Everything.
So the first book addressed more of the burnout aspect. So it's like, here's what happens if you don't address these things early. The second book is more about how you actually can attract clients that you love working with so that you're not draining your energy on the clients that you don't love working with. So hopefully you just never even get to that burnout situation in the first place. So
amazing. When is that going to launch?
that launches, it's early December. I don't know the date exactly. It's early December.
We have some loyal fans here and they will eagerly await the launch of your second book. Congratulations, Heather. Thank you.
Wonderful. So much. Thank you so much, Trevor.
Amazing. So the next author that I have to introduce to you, unfortunately could not be with us today due to an emergency, but her book is entitled The Relationship Train. Be your own love conductor and get a partner who is on board. Who doesn't want that? Her name is Colleen Tracy, and this book is one of the first that I published and kind of one of my favorites. What she is trying to accomplish through this book is through telling her story, which includes divorce, which includes experimentation with same-sex relationships, which includes doing the work on yourself prior to entering a relationship with anybody else. Colleen is trying to tell us that, number one, the first thing you need to do is work on you. And the second is that you need to be open to whatever else comes your way after that. That's the train. So once a train starts moving, you let it go down the tracks. I want to play a clip from this audiobook, and then I will be back with a little bit more detail for you.
As a movement teacher, I often worked with people in their 50s, 60s, or 70s
Oh, we're so close. Ah, I see. Yeah, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty with the audio. Give me 1 second. There's very detailed technological things that go into these. Are we ready? All right, we're ready. Go.
I have good news. Prepare for the right relationship, the right partner, because he or she is about to come your way. As we move forward in learning how to find that dynamic relationship you long for, your eyes will begin to open your mind to new ideas, thoughts, and discoveries. Let's keep moving on and forward, because there's no need to look back at the past. Those relationships are done and did not serve you. So why look back? Don't let your past bad relationships affect the possibilities of a new one to come. We can't hold someone else hostage to what another one has done wrong to us. We can only grow and learn from those hurts. I say, do you want to be better or bitter? How about better, so that way you find your soulmate? Deal? Good.
So the key details, better, not bitter. I will never forget reading those words for the first time in Colleen's book. This book is available on Barnes & Noble currently for pre-order. It actually will be released in early October, so pre-order now. We will send you a copy of the audiobook for free if you send us your confirmation. So, Colleen Tracy, it's called the relationship train. Be your own love conductor and get a partner who is on board. We congratulate her for the success of this book. And next up, Donna Caraba, author of Passion, Purpose, Profit, which I just say in the mirror like a mantra. Donna, congratulations and thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to see you, Trevor.
Great to see you too. So the subtitle of this book is 9 Keys to Building an Authentic Executive Coaching Business. Tell me about, not all 9 of the keys, but tell me about the keys.
Well, this book is really about following your passion, making a profit, and really fulfilling your purpose in life. So living on purpose. And the keys that I explain are really my authentic leadership business model, the model that I created for my business. And this book is really written to inspire other coaches and other people, parents, leaders, who want to live on purpose and, live out their true self. So I'm really wanting to encourage people to get grounded. So, one of the first steps is really to focus on awareness. And that's the first letter of authentic, and really the first step in my model. So, I want people to get grounded with who they are and be truly authentic and live out their true self in the world. So it's a story about that challenge, is how we integrate leadership, life, and our purpose.
I love the idea of integrating leadership, life, and purpose. That triad, I think that's one of the strongest triads I can even come up with. I love that idea.
Yeah.
So tell me kind of on the ground, what does that look like for your clients?
Well, just thinking about one particular client who this was never something I expected to help anyone with, but she literally said I saved her life. And it took me hearing that twice through her tears to really believe that that's something that this work can do for someone else. But she, for 20 years, had a dream and kind of kept that dream locked up, not believing that she could explore that. And she said to me, she goes, I feel 20 years younger. And she just had such a renewed zest for life. So, that's where, helping give people that permission to be who they are and who they were meant to be, can be just a very simple thing, but very profound at the same time. So that was just a heartwarming story for me to hear from someone who, I didn't expect such a breakthrough with, but these things can happen and do happen. And so it just re-inspired me to keep on this path, doing this work, coaching executives, coaching leaders, and helping people be more of who they want to be and who they are at their higher self level. So not that small self, not the chattering voice that tells you who you aren't or who you shouldn't be, but the higher self, the soul voice that is there to inspire you to truly live a life of joy and be super successful. That's what I love helping people with, is just becoming more self-aware, more authentic, and more successful.
So that self-awareness, authenticity, and success, I think what I'm hearing is that once you get to that point in your life, it shaves 20 years off of you. This book is almost the fountain of youth. Am I right?
I love it. I mean, truly, I feel personally better than I've ever felt since I can remember, 17. I mean, really, age is just something that is a number. It's not really who you are or how you are in the world. It's how you feel. And are you, feeling that zest for life? Are you feeling that type of energy? And I think the more in line you are with who you are, that just happens naturally because you're feeling that joy on a regular basis. There was never a day that I dreaded Mondays. And I think that's something that, in my previous life, in a corporate role, I wasn't jumping out of bed ready to get to work. And I think everyone should have that opportunity. So that's another reason why I want this book to get out there in the world, is to give everyone that permission to be able to jump out of bed every Monday morning excited for work.
So tell me what happened in between, like the Mondays that you didn't want to go to work, and then all of a sudden there was a Monday and you were like, man, I'm ready.
Right. Well, I think it was finally giving myself permission to follow my heart and take this leap of faith. It kind of feels like you're jumping off a cliff and that there's no parachute, but you know that if you don't do that, you're going to die on the inside. And I felt on the inside that my spirit was really dying, or, like that light was being snuffed out. And there was no one to blame but myself, because I had put myself into a position that wasn't truly me. And so when I allowed myself to, take that leap of faith, follow my heart, and follow this path of coaching, counseling, successful, happy people, and just helping them be better, I just jumped out of bed every morning, eager to get to work, because I was on a clear path, living out my passion, and seeing that that's what all that work previous led up to. I just didn't, it's easier to see that in hindsight than when you're in the midst of it. Yes. So I feel like that possibility is there for all of us. And really, we're on the planet to experience joy. And we forget that sometimes, and I think one of the biggest mistakes I saw people making was chasing the paycheck and not following their passion. So this book is to inspire people to uncover that passion, follow it, and know for certain that that's going to put them on the right path.
Amazing. So let's go ahead and hear a sample of this audiobook.
Now that you are a parent, how do you envision yourself in this role? How do you stay in alignment with your values? What kind of career do you long for? You may be successful in a job, But what about your dream to be an entrepreneur? Can you make a living on your own? Can you be true to yourself and experience wholeness, aliveness, and personal freedom? Can you spend the time you desire with your children at your free will? You can be the parent of your dreams and do the work you love. You can replace your corporate salary and surpass it with a business you operate from home. You can be happy, make a great living, and have the time to raise your children as you wish.
That's actually a great lead into what I'm most proud of is my children.
Proud of?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I went into coaching was because I wanted to be a good role model for my kids. And what the end result was I started living my passion. I encouraged my husband to live his passion. He's now a tenured professor, which was his dream. And my kids are both living amazing lives. I mean, it's just so inspiring. And I'm so happy that I made that choice, that I wasn't, squashing my own dream. I was willing to take that leap of faith. And it paid off, in dividends for our whole family, not to mention my clients.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to hear that. That's fantastic. I love that you mentioned a leap of faith, because earlier you mentioned the idea of jumping out of a plane without a parachute. I have to tell you, from being a part of the publication of this book, from meeting you, from reading through it and hearing the audiobook, this book is the parachute. And congratulations on it. I cannot
Thank you.
I can't let you go without mentioning that you are also writing a second book. Tell me everything about it.
Yes. Well, this book is really, again, on the same path of authenticity. It's really geared to my executive CEO clients and those that are aspiring to be CEOs. Part of the reason why I decided to be an executive coach was to impact as many people as I can. And with the time that I have to work with people, I wanted it to have a great impact. And so because I can shift those leaders, even just a tiny fraction, if nothing else, their impact is so great and vast. So this book is really to help those leaders lead and live authentically and integrate their leadership with their life, so that they're who they are in every aspect.
Beautiful. I am so excited to read it when it is finally done and ready for the world. Congratulations. We're so excited for you, Donna.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. So next up, we have Michelle Smith. Her book is entitled Always With Me, The Guide to Grieving Death Through Integrative Medicine. Michelle is with us via phone. We unfortunately had a little bit of a technical issue getting video, but Michelle, are you there?
I am here. Hi, Trevor.
Michelle is here. Michelle, congratulations on the publication of this book. It is beautiful. I know that the cardinal on the cover means something to you. Would you mind telling me that story?
Absolutely. So when I was 24, my father died suddenly from a massive heart attack. He was only 50. And the night of his viewing was pretty difficult for me, obviously. But there was a point that evening where I felt kind of guided to look over my right shoulder, and woven into one of the flower arrangements was a cardinal, which was quite symbolic in my father's family. And I just kind of had this knowing inside that that would be a sign of his presence in my life from that moment forward, even though he had physically died. And it's been remarkable, the last 13 or 14 years since he died, at very critical moments of my life, that a cardinal has been present in some way, whether it be an actual cardinal or, a picture of one on a mailbox or something. I've just seen them manifest at really critical points in my life, which has been really awesome to feel his presence, even though he's no longer physically in his body.
Thank you for sharing that. I think one thing that might come out of this book not only will be an understanding of integrative medicine and its uses in order to deal with grief, but also to encourage people to find their cardinal. That's really pretty.
Thank you.
So in the time since you've published this book, walk me through kind of the people you're working with, the things that they're learning. How's everything going?
It's been amazing. I think writing the book had a sense of, one, me believing in myself even more, but also other people. I think when you write a book, it legitimizes for people what, the message that you have to share. So the book has definitely connected me with a lot of people. And through that, I've been able to use the tools, the various tools of integrative medicine, the different modalities that I personally practice and use. And I've definitely seen many lives changed. I've worked for the last 10 years in a health system in central Pennsylvania. So I've been surrounded by a lot of sickness and death at work. And then also, I think just my training, people have been guided to me outside of my 9-to-5 job. And I've just really been able to use the book and the different tools of integrative medicine to help people who are struggling with grief to find happiness again.
Can you tell the audience a few of the tools of integrative medicine that you use?
Yeah, I got my master's degree in yoga therapy from Maryland University of Integrative Health. So the tools of yoga therapy include physical postures, breathing exercises, and mindfulness or meditation exercises. So I do that. And I also practice Reiki, which is a hands-on healing energy practice. And then I also do vibrational sound therapy, which is where singing bowls are struck and placed on people's bodies so they feel vibrations and they hear, the sounds created by those singing bowls. And I believe that all of those different modalities and those different tools are ultimately driving at helping people connect with their higher self or, something much larger than themselves. And I think in that space, we have the opportunity to feel connected to everyone and everything. And I believe for myself, even people who have, physically left their bodies.
You, in kind of wrapping up the book, you tell this really beautiful story. I think it goes through a lot of the modalities that you bring up in the book. A person named Angel. Would you mind telling us that story?
Yeah, so I, in my book, I talk about grieving loss, and it's not always like an actual death, but I think loss can come in many forms. And for Angel, she actually was just going through a really difficult time. Her husband went to prison. So, she was grieving the loss of the relationship that she knew. And I worked with her primarily using Reiki, which again is that hands-on healing energy practice. And she, through our time together, was really able to start seeing synchronicities, or in other words, like signs coming at really amazing times, and feeling through those signs like connected to something bigger than herself. So it was neat through Reiki. She was starting to experience what I had experienced with my father's death and those, seeing those cardinals. She was seeing, music playing at just the right time. And through that really felt connected to, like I said, to something bigger than herself, and oftentimes felt connected to her husband, even though he wasn't physically with her.
I think we found the title of your next book, Find Your Cardinal. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
I would love to play a sample so folks can hear from the book.
And so began my journey with the reality of death. Ever since that day, I felt a strong calling to be present with people at the end of life and to help people manage the process of losing a loved one. It is a challenging but rewarding calling. Through the years, I've learned that there is no formula, and there is no secret to navigating those rocky waters. However, I've also learned that at the center of the turbulence and in the middle of the crashing waves is a center, a home base that can be found. There is a still, small voice within that is always calling and leading us back to that center, back home.
Michelle, this book is fantastic. Congratulations on all your success thus far and your upcoming print book. I'm so excited for you. The book is entitled Always With Me, The Guide to Grieving Death Through Integrative Medicine by Michelle A. Smith. We love you, Michelle. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Next up, we have an author who could not join us today. Her name is Maria Teresa Klein, and she is the author of Be the CEO of Your Own Health, Create Your Perfect Feel-Good Lifestyle. This book is specifically about people who have mastered financial success, but they're not exactly in the place where they have put their health first. Unfortunately, that seems to be one of the causes of kind of early in life deaths of people who have, you would believe, access to the best healthcare in the world. Unfortunately, not paying attention to it as you build up your career builds up. And Maria Teresa, her point of view is that you can learn the secrets to feeling good all the time. You can use your genetics and your health habits. You can make them work for you. You can use the science of food combining, which is eating well without giving up what you love. Personally, I'm involved with the keto diet sometimes, but I really, really, really like sugar and and carbs once in a while. So I like the idea of food combining. I want to give you just a little sample of the audiobook. Are you all ready? They are ready. Let's go.
How are we to trust our doctor when she is looking through the same lens he does for everyone else? He has no choice. His hands are tied. A doctor in this country can only legally treat a person with cancer in 3 ways: with surgery, radiation therapy, and/or chemotherapy. Yes, if a doctor or any healer makes a claim that they can cure anything by any other means or protocol involving anything other than these 3 methods, they are subject to warnings, fines, and ultimately arrests.
So Maria Teresa's theory here is that there are other ways to be healthy. There are other ways to pay attention to what's going on in your body. And legitimately, one of the things that she says is that it's time to create the perfect health lifestyle so that you can enjoy it for as long as you choose. So this isn't just for people who are older or middle-aged or mid-career. If you start now, then you won't have to worry about it later. As some folks say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So this is Maria Teresa Klein's book. It is called Be the CEO of Your Own Health, Create Your Perfect Feel-Good Lifestyle. It's available for pre-order right now. And obviously, if you are in one of the first 20 to pre-order the book and come back down on the bottom of this page and fill out the form, we will send you the audiobook for free. Be the CEO of your own health. Who doesn't want to be the CEO? Next up, we have one of the best authors. Her name is Catherine McClelland. This book is entitled Power Coupling, which I'd like to be a part of. Coming Together When Life is Falling Apart. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the launch of this audiobook.
Thank you, Trevor. It's great to be here today.
Awesome. So tell me, since you first launched your book, it's gone through a couple of changes. I remember this book was entitled Breathless.
Yes.
Tell me about the difference between Breathless and Power Coupling.
Well, the book is directed at people whose lives are slightly overwhelming them, women who have careers, children, and husbands, and huge things going on, and are trying to balance all that. And what I found was, as I kept playing with the book and trying and talking to people about it, what was more important was that focusing us on the partnership aspect, that actually when you bring people in and you start working together, especially the loved ones, that your life gets easier. And so I wanted to focus the book on that part, where the love that holds you in its hands, I should say, that if we focus on the love and then we invite care for ourselves and then care for other people, we create these incredible webs of love and care that support us and lift us up. And we don't think it's going to be there when we first try. We're like, no, it's too much trouble. Oh my gosh. So it's beautiful when you start leaning into it and you realize, oh, this is actually easier and better for me than anything else I've tried. So there you go.
Cool. So, we don't tend to get an inside view on the power couples in our lives, the Beyonce and Jay-Z, the Barack and Michelle. You are in one. So tell me what that is like, having all of this insight. Tell me what it was like before you figured all this out and what it's like now.
This is my face before. It was really hard work. Life was really hard work. And I had the idea that I had to do it by myself. I had the idea that the more I took on, that the more I controlled, that the more I held it together with the kids and everything else, everyone else would calm down and everything would be great. And what I realized was there was no way to be great until you let everybody do their part and then you do your part. So there's plenty of time. I heard this funny thing about Beyonce. I heard this saying, like, she has no more hours in the day than you do. What's up with you? What's your problem? And she's got 1 million people with her who are partners, who are helping her. And that's the idea of this book, is start small, start with your kids and your family and whoever it is. Love them so much and love yourself so much that you find your way into this beautiful sort of tapestry, and it's constantly changing about who's in the forefront and who's, what needs to happen today. But you breathe into it instead of like breathing over it or something. And then you really let people support you. And you see that the only way to really do it in life is to be a power couple, to bring that all together and make space, and then let everybody do their parts instead of you trying to do it by yourself.
Now, some of us are chronically single. So what would you say to them?
Well, this book is for everybody, as my readers and my clients have been telling me, which I think is really fun, because it's a path, it's a journey. So even when I first saw it, it was for someone in marriage or in a relationship, right? But what it really is about take on this journey for yourself and start living this way. So start, if you don't have a love partnership right now, start with your friends, start with your family. Who's there that wants to support you and that you want to support? And really start with your inner voice that you can listen to. It says, which way to go? Should I go here? Should I go there? Should I, and it's this deep listening to the loving field that's around us when we breathe, when we let go, when we're happy, that invites people to come in and say, yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to work with you. I'd like to help you. How can I help you? Where can I help you? The biggest mistake I think people make, and I certainly was making it just over the top making it, was going it alone. We start to pull in and we're like, okay, the train's going faster and faster. I can do it. And it's like, no, I can't. This train is going to crash. So just opening our hearts to ourselves, to our spirit, to the love that's all around us, and then to everybody else. You never know who someone's going to be in your life. Synchronicities are incredible. So while this book is sort of focused on inside a partnership or inside a marriage, all of the work and all the lessons of the book are for anybody who just wants to invite stopping doing their whole life by themselves and inviting a lot of support and a lot of joy and love into their life that can be super fun. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds correct. I'm going to go ahead and read this one.
Okay.
I love you're inviting people who are not necessarily in the power couple right now, but aspire to be in the power couple. This book is for you as well.
Thank you, Trevor. Yes.
So tell me a story about some power couples you've created.
Well, one of the most exciting one was actually fairly recent. This couple has been in a really, I should say, challenging kind of power struggle for a long time, and they have a pretty challenging situation with one of their children. So it's kind of like you can't get out because everybody has to be here together. But they were doing it like this. They were doing it parallel from each other. So like, one was in charge of this and one was in charge of that. And then the kid was in the middle and like, okay, who's in charge of me now? And, it involved hospitals and some serious stuff. But the parents couldn't get the circle around them to hold them. And finally, a suggestion one day in a coaching time with the mom, just invited her to stop trying and to start loving. Just to open her heart and say, I don't know, honestly, what the hell to do right now. It's just so hard. And instead of pushing forward, she just went back. And she just said the same thing to her husband when she got home. And they had this like massive heart opening. Just, I wish I could show you a video of, she was like, oh my God, I can't. And it was, they reconnected sexually, they reconnected with their hearts. Their kids were just bouncing on the furniture, literally, because the joy was so palpable when they finally opened the door to the loving again. And then they could care for each other instead of battling, which is a very limited way of living, right? They're both doing thing they're supposed to be doing together alone next to each other. And I know this from my life. I've done this. I've had a family, and the reason I say I failed at my marriage was it was my number one priority, and I still didn't do it. I still couldn't make it. I just didn't have the tools. And I have so many tools now. I'm so excited. I'm like, guys, jump in, check it out, create these incredible relationships. And I call them partnerships because you work together instead of fighting each other and having this sort of always in between you. So it's my joy, it's my love, it's my heart. And yeah, I'm that person.
I love being around that person. That person gives me hope. Thank you very much. I want to go ahead and play a little clip from the audiobook.
Okay.
We are going on a journey together, a deep dive into what is behind the you that shows up in the world each day. You will see as we travel together that you are able to see what is behind your upset, overwhelm, and possibly the sense of futility in your life. There is essentially a simple choice that will give you back, for the first time, what you really want. We have a tendency to think that life is random and just happens to us. That everything comes together for some people or falls apart for some. We don't realize that without knowing it, we set ourselves up to win or fail. I'd like to set you up to win.
I would love to be set up to win, Catherine.
Let's do it, Trevor.
The last words in your book you wrote were, you were born to love, you must love, or you will cease to be you. I fully and wholeheartedly believe that. Thank you so much for joining us, for writing this book, and for sharing it with the world. I hear you're writing a second book too.
I am.
Tell me.
So this one is sexy somewhere. And the title is something like Spark Your Marriage or Spark Your Life, things like that. We're still playing with the title.
Working title.
Huh?
Working title.
Working title, right. So it's something like that. But the idea is taking these tools in a slightly different way and more specific tools, I would say, to really open yourself to a relationship where you're loved, where your sexual life is really important, and where you have this field of romance around you that makes everybody just want to be in love all the time. I think that sounds good.
Sounds like the 70s. I'm into it.
Yeah, but it's like the 70s, but right now, like it's even cooler.
That's amazing. Do you know when that's going to launch?
Well, the pre-orders are launching next week.
Surprise.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about, I think that's next Friday. But yeah. So, but and then again, the big launch event is in November. But
Right. That means you will be able to get, within 1 week of each other, you will be able to pre-order on Barnes & Noble Power Coupling by Catherine McClellan. You will, if you are one of the first 20 people to do so, be able to get the audiobook for Power Coupling. And then you can come back next week, book number 2, and you will be able to receive the ebook of that in November. That is quite the few months you're having.
It is.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you so much for this.
All right. So I've got one last book to tell you all about. This book is very special to me, not for the reason that you think, but because it's actually the first book I actually published all the way through. It is entitled The Craft Cannabis Revolution: Succeed as a Small Business in a Giant Industry. It is by Jonathan Collier, who is a cannabis entrepreneur and grower in California. He published this book as a kind of aid to people who would like to get into the industry, as an explanation of where the industry has come from and where it's going, and exactly how one should think about building a cannabis entrepreneurial business. I wish he was here to talk about this book, but unfortunately he couldn't be. I want to play an audio clip real quick, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about it.
To succeed, focus on being the biggest fish in a small pond. This is called niche marketing, and you'll get better results with less effort and fewer resources. But even the biggest fish doesn't eat everything in the pond. There's particular prey that's best suited for their survival. This means dropping down to the individual level. Who exactly is your customer? What specifically motivates them? What do they care about? How is this represented in the products they buy? So, for the purposes here, the focus is on niche markets and knowing your customer, their needs and problems, and how to provide specific solutions for their specific issues.
I think that is obviously a very smart perspective, and also very similar to the perspective that we ask our incubated authors to take as they write their books. I see them nodding. They're all agreeing. You specifically want to know who your target audience is, your ideal reader. You want to write to that person. And in this case, Jonathan is saying to build your business toward that specific target audience. He's got a whole chapter here with crafting models of success. If one was to want to be kind of a tastemaker, so you get the new stuff and you sell that. If you wanted to be part of the tourism industry that is cropping up in states with legalized cannabis, or if you were interested in becoming a little bit more of a niche salesperson who sells very high-end cannabis products. The book is entitled The Craft Cannabis Revolution. So I think we all understand that there is a lot of change happening at one time, but he has the answers here to succeed as a small business in a giant industry that is only getting larger. This book is a little bit different in that it is actually already released. We self-published this book in the spring. So if you click down below, you can purchase it in paperback from Amazon today. It will be shipped to you just like Amazon ships everything else. If you come back and give us your order number, we will send you the audiobook for free. I think this book is going to be near and dear to my heart for a very long time as one of the first that I published. I'm going to go ahead and conclude. First, I want to say thank you all so much. All of the authors who could join us today, you all are amazing. I'm so happy for you. And for those of you who are writing second books, I'm so excited to see you soon. We are celebrating the imminent release of these books being available in bookstores, and of course the launches of your audiobooks. So everyone, before you go, make sure you get these books. The links are below. And once you buy, you make sure you click the button to request the free copy of the audiobook. Again, all you have to do is complete the form with your audiobook, complete the form with your order number, and we will get you the audiobook if you are in the first 20 to request it. Now, we've been talking for a while, you guys, so I feel like it's time to do it. If you are not sure, go ahead and click that button, pre-order these books, and go ahead and get that free audiobook. As soon as the print book is ready, obviously by dint of the fact that they are being pre-ordered, the bookstores will send it your way. My hope for all of you, the audience, is that from listening to the authors share their stories today, you've gotten some clarity on exactly how a book can make a difference when it's written from a place of service to its readers. Each of the authors you saw featured has spent the last few months building a transformational author business that will bring hope, healing, and transformation to hundreds, even thousands of readers, including myself. Hopefully, after watching our 2-part lasting impression event, you're feeling inspired to share your own story. If you have a message in your heart that you're ready to share with the world, then I encourage you to take the leap of faith now. Here at the Author Incubator, we aren't necessarily looking for big social media followings or Mark Twain type writing. What we're looking for is people who are on a mission. Missions to change thousands of lives, people who are willing to let nothing stop them from making the difference they were born to make. If that sounds like you, then I encourage you to click the apply button on the page or go to theauthorincubator.com/apply. That's theauthorincubator.com/apply right now and submit your application. We're expecting to receive more than 500 applications from just this 2-day event alone for only 20 available spots each month. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Because you've gone on this journey with us, we already know you possess the qualities we're looking for. So if you apply right now through this page, we're going to jump you to the front of the line. Just make sure you tell us in your application why you've committed to finally embarking on your book journey so you can make a difference in readers' lives, just as the authors you met today have. Thanks again for joining us today, and make sure you get the books you've seen today before you go. If you know someone who could use the messages of hope and healing inside these books, then please share the links with them too. It's so important for us to get the books into the hands and hearts of the readers who need it the most. Because here at the Author Incubator, we are changing the world one book at a time.